This looks amazing. I'm so excited. As you know, I used to shoot film a long time ago. Working with a medium format film camera in the field was a joy, but it was also expensive, and because I was developing the film at home to save some money, it also took a lot of time. And at the end of the day, after all that work, the final product was a digital file or an inkjet print. So the whole process felt a little bit underwhelming. At some point, I realized that the opposite approach was probably the way to go for me, to embrace the convenience and the low cost of digital, but to go analog with the printing. I wanted to make prints that were unique, one of a kind. But the lack of space and resources meant that I had to get creative. After a lot of experimentation, the closest I got to have something working was what I call the mobile darkroom. I made a little app for my phone that projected a digital negative onto paper using my Bronica medium format film camera as an enlarger. And if it worked, that would be amazing because it's something that I could do almost anywhere. I wouldn't need a dedicated space for this, a space that I didn't have back then and a space that I still don't have today. But I could never figure out how to make the prints sharp enough. They were very blurry. I'm telling you all of this to show you how long I've been thinking about this. So you can imagine how excited I was when I found out that Hidden Light had relocated to Elkhart, Indiana, which is less than an hour from the little town where I spend a good chunk of the year. I mean, what are the odds? And even better, Matt invited me to spend a whole morning at his lab printing some of my favorite digital photographs. It was amazing. We made these three beautiful platinum palladium prints. This is what happens when a 150-year-old printing process meets modern camera technology. So, so the first step, choose some pictures, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Right?
Yep. So the first thing that I want to do is turn on a soft proof that'll show us what the image looks like in platinum. Like, that looks really good. The only thing I want to do is, like, you can see here, and I can see in the histogram that there is no black, which you told me is the thing that you do.
Right.
So we're just going to push that black point back to where it belongs, which is raw black.
This is where working with a master printer is so useful. Matt has been doing this for years and knows exactly what will work best for the images with this process.
But because it's my job to worry about this. Because by the time you've made a $200 print and you find a lens spot, you kind of want to cry about it.
I've already made a few prints of this one, so it should be pretty good, but you just never know.
I'm going to ask Photoshop to turn this into a negative for me. I have a custom preset that I built for that.
Nice.
I think I'm making the largest commercially available platinum prints in the world. So that means I need a giant printer in case somebody wants a really big platinum print, like the one that's at the foot of the stairs over there. That's 40 by 80, and I don't know of anybody going bigger than that. I'll shoot air at it for 5 minutes. So this is ferric oxalate. This is kind of the base chemical that we're going to be using. And then the expensive one is the palladium. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of this process is like surprisingly dependent on humidity and water. So you have to have the right amount of water in your brush, you have to have the right amount of humidity in the air, and nobody really talks about that. Old Burger Cot 160. It's a really thin paper, but it's got a texture that I think feels kind of like the images that you're using on YouTube, so that's why I chose it. And we'll see if we like it. So we'll take it to the exposure unit, which is hilariously oversized. For what we're about to do. One of the bigger exposure units in the world. It's 10 feet long and 4 feet wide. We'll just turn it on and you'll be able to see that the light's all purple because it's black lights. Putting out mostly UV. And like if I sit here long enough, my glasses will transition into black because it's enough UV to set them off.
How long does it have to be there?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
It's my exposure time right now. Late 1800s, 1880s.
1880s. Oh,
It's one of the oldest photographic processes, and I think it's the most stable. These prints will last thousands of years.
and Instagram post lasts for what, a week?
Yeah, dude. I don't know. It's brutal. It's one of the reasons I love this process is because there's a legacy to it.
Yeah.
So the prints that I make in however many hundreds or thousands of years, assuming that humanity's still around, some archivist somewhere will be able to be like, oh, this is clearly a Beatty print because this is the way his brushstrokes went. He always did it this way. This area is always bigger.
Right.
Whatever. And you can look at other people who print in platinum, and everyone has their own style of coating the paper, and you can just tell.
That's so cool.
So that's, I don't know, it's fun.
That's so cool. That's what adds the more analog part to even a digital process.
You can do some really cool stuff too. You don't have, since you're coating the sheet of paper, you don't have to coat the whole thing.
Right.
You can just coat one strip.
Yeah.
And then that shows, oh, this is all that matters, and the rest of it doesn't even exist.
Right.
It doesn't print because there's no chemistry.
Right.
So we've done that for clients, where it's like, oh, let's do the coat in a circle, or let's just do one brush stroke down the image,
so
and
cool.
it's like, okay, sweet, let's
That's
try
so cool.
it.
That is creative for
And
sure.
even within an edition, you're going to coat 10 prints, say, every coat is different. Every image is different. No two things are the same.
Right.
It's
They're
the
one of a
best.
kind.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. That's cool.
Four feet by 10 feet of available exposure unit to make a 8-inch square print, and then you flip it over, find a spot. The whole thing's a vacuum table, so it pulls everything underneath it flush with the 400-pound sheet of glass that's in there. So what we'll do is, when it's done, I'll lift up the table, bring the print over here, and you'll be able to like almost see it, but not quite. And then I'll pour the developer on it, and then it will develop instantly.
So do you need to use developer, fixer, and then water like a regular?
Close. It's different chemicals. So this is potassium oxalate, which is a different developer, and these are both acid baths. It's a really dilute acid. They used to use hydrochloric acid. We don't do that anymore. But a really dilute acid bath, and then it washes for 40 minutes or 45 minutes. Table is my tray.
But how do you have like the three chemicals?
So I pull the print, and this is a 48 by 96 inch tray. I put it in here, I block off the drains, and I use 5 gallons of developer.
Oh my goodness.
And I pour it from over there, and it covers the whole print. And then I have a motor that runs an agitation schedule. And then I drain that chemical out and I reclaim it. And I mix 15 gallons of the first acid and do that. And I agitate it. There's a reason nobody does them this big, is because everything is custom. I had to make a hugely expensive exposure unit. Every time I move, I have to build a new sink from scratch. It's ridiculous. And if I hold it here, you can see kind of like, oh yeah, there's a picture in there. And then we'll go to the sink.
So you don't have to do it like right away.
I mean, whatever.
The sooner the better.
The sooner the better. Alright. So this, when it's wet, is much higher contrast than it will be when it dries. The blacks will dry up like a stock.
Borders now are just pure black?
Yep. The highlights will more or less stay the same. Oh yeah, we're well down from paper white. This developer's reusable, so I kind of let it drip for a minute. These two are designed, so you can see how there's a little bit of yellow kind of showing up here. This bath pulls all the unused iron out of the paper so that it doesn't rust over time. And so what it's going to do is pull the yellow out of the highlights. And it's in this for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people will just send me the files and I'll send them the prints, and there's some back and forth. Usually you send me files and I say, this looks great. Do you mind if I drop the black point a little? Do you mind if I get rid of this power line? What do you think about these lens spots? You know, whatever.
Right.
But I welcome photographers to come here and print with me so that they can understand exactly what goes into the process, get their hands wet if they want to play a little bit.
That's cool. No, I mean, I still feel like as a photographer with no experience, I have experience making the photos, but I have no experience printing them. I value having the opinion of someone who's been doing it for so long, you know, with other photographers.
A collaboration, right? The file that you built that looks the way that you want it to look is our score, and we can perform it however we want. And sometimes it's useful to just play. Do we want this warmer? Do we want it higher contrast, lower contrast? Like, what would look good? Look at all that yellow in there. Things to separate out the sheeps. It's nothing crazy. All right. 1, 2.
Nice. It's the reverse too.
Yep. Yeah. So that when I place the negative in contact with the paper, it's ink in contact with platinum palladium emulsion, which is how we get a sharper print. So first what we'll have you do is put a pencil mark that you can see with your own eyes anywhere outside all 4 corners. That is your must coat this far marking. You're going to dump all of this right in the middle and then just kind of gently brush it around. See if you can get all 4 corners just like you saw me do.
This is why I'm a photographer, not a painter.
Dude, you're crushing it.
Do you do diagonal?
Sure, yeah, whatever. I mean, anything that you feel will make it even is the correct answer.
Okay.
There's no right or wrong. Let them to dry. I think.
How much do we have?
About 3 minutes left.
Okay, so you have 3 minutes to tell the story
Figure it out.
of Hidden Light.
Yeah. So I started working at Hidden Light as a picture framer, and they needed someone to come in and just deal with picture framing. But they had a silver gelatin darkroom, and they were printing platinum palladium. And I was like, I want to be photography adjacent. Bring me in. Let me be around it. I don't have to be the guy pressing the button to make money, but I can be around photography and do photography-related things. So I was doing picture framing, and a couple years in, they decided they didn't want to run the business anymore. Done. I said, sell me the business, teach me. And they said, okay. So I learned platinum palladium printing from a guy named Corey Allen, who taught me, he was making prints 30 by 40, like big prints. And he taught me all the platinum things and gave me kind of the jumping off point, you know, helped me ruin my first 100 prints. And then taught me what I did wrong. And then I bought the business from them, and we went big. We did bigger prints. We started experimenting with different things. We started a camera store. And so for 10 years in Flagstaff, I operated Hidden Light before it was time for me to move out here. I only kept the printmaking side. The retail side, the picture framing side is still operating in Flagstaff under the name Flagstaff Camera. Owned by somebody else. So I sold all that to him, and I just kept Hidden Light and the printmaking so that I can be in my darkroom where I belong.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
That's good. It's a lot of black in this image.
Yeah.
So this development will be slightly different. I'm gonna raise the tray up a skosh. I'm gonna stick the piece of paper in it and then drop the tray. It happens pretty quick. 1, 2. Oh, up. The ideal scenario is that you cover the entire surface of the print with the developer as fast as possible. When you get a hard line, like you can see that I did in that one, sometimes it will show up, and I can't see it in here. Got lucky.
It's for unique images.
Yeah, it makes for redoing the print is what it makes for.
Yeah, I can see my unique signature there, but it's looking cool.
Dude, for your first print, that looks really good. Your inkjet, this is, or whatever digital file, this is like a gradient.
We worked on one last photo, one I made earlier this year in New York. Making the digital negative is pretty much straightforward once you know how to do it, but the mixing of chemicals, coating the paper, and developing the print, that's where something truly unique gets made.
That's all that iron we've been pulling out of all these prints. So if we let it sit, you can kind of see the yellow start to collect over these highlight areas, and then as I agitate it, it starts to move it off that surface of the paper. That's cool.
We made 3 prints in about 3 hours. It's hard to tell because time flew by. Getting your hands dirty in the process adds so much to the final result. You know, I'm getting old. I can't see from close up. And most importantly, I love how they came out. Don't get me wrong though, I still love the inkjet prints, but the platinum palladium adds an analog feeling that is pretty much impossible to replicate with ink. And as Matt mentioned earlier, they will last forever, thousands of years. This one might last 100, 200 years, which is probably enough for any of us. But it's always nice to know that your work will outlive you. I love these prints so much that I've decided to start selling them on my website, and don't worry, it will not be me doing all the brushing and stuff. Matt will be masterly printing and shipping them from Elkhart, Indiana. You can follow the link down in the description to know more. And if you are a photographer yourself and want to have your work printed this way by Matt, you can reach him out at hiddenlightllc.com. This was a very cool experience. I love experimenting with my photography, especially when there are physical products involved. I really appreciate the invitation from Matt. I can't wait to go back and play a little bit more with all his fancy equipment. Making this video was real fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.